All right, all right. Hey, everybody, how are you? It's Ed. Good to see you, Ed O'Keefe. And today I have something really, really cool that I think you're going to like. That's going to put cash in your pocket right away. Something you can do pretty fast and get results. A little story of how we spent $1,200. Generated $63,000. I think I said like in 3 weeks. It was faster than that. I just for like there's one step to it, which I'll tell you in a second, that just takes a few days of prep work. It's not a lot of work, but it was with high ticket coaches, and it was with actually someone else's customer base, right? So I'm gonna kind of walk through that. And it's something you can do, like, especially if you have, hey, Twix, I have my dog over there. If you have clients right now that, and customers in your database that you are not doing this with, it'll be fun. It'll be fun for you because I think I'm going to surprise you of how simple it is. It's going to be different than what everyone else is doing. I've told dozens and dozens of high-ticket coaches who are very well known, and they always say this one thing to me. They go, wow, we should be doing that. And none of them ever do it. None of them ever do it. So I'll tell you about that in a second. I want to answer a few questions and just some logistics that came in. As you know, in the group, high-ticket coaching made easy 2023. We're currently promoting my mentor Yoda. I'll keep his name Yoda for this training as well. His 2-page Google Doc cash machine, and some of the tools we talk about today are going to be from that. So it's very, very relevant to that, and I want to answer a couple questions that came in because they're really good questions. And my mentor Yoda put together a simple document, and this is what it is right here. Simple document, 3 pages long. 3 pages long. You can read it. Actually, 4 pages long. So it's really not 2-page Google Doc. It's a 4-page Google Doc. But you can read it in. You'll enjoy reading it. It's very instructional. There's a case study in it. It shows how he. In one morning, just had sales flying, 139 sales flying in one day, just doing a simple little offer with a 2-page Google document to his list. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to take a second because I think this is not only like a breakthrough in consulting and coaching, but I think it's even more important when it's more important when you have kind of like this economic. It's a little frantic in the marketplace right now. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're seeing it with some of your clients. My main client that sells $65,000 coaching to dentists. We definitely saw a month ago a massive decrease in conversion rate. Okay, I expected that. I knew that was going to happen. I don't have control over certain things. I just get to advise them, and I do get to write some copy, and I get opportunities to do interviews with the expert, who I love to death. He's amazing. But one of the things I shared with them is that I said, look, when you have these types of, because I was there in 2008 when this happened in 2008, and there's 2 things going to happen. One is people want more help and more specificity to their help, okay? And so that's why consultants and coaches are actually in more demand than ever. The big difference is that they're not going to have 4 or 5 coaches anymore. They're going to be like, okay, which coach do I need? And they're willing to invest that money towards them, okay? The second thing is that you need to have a way to let them experience transformational value with engagement with you. And that's part of what we're going to talk about a little bit today. And there's a simple little formula on it. I've talked about it a lot in a lot of different trainings. But if they never experience that transformational value or that transformational insight, it's going to be very, very difficult to sell them. Okay, and that's where people revert to super long sales copy for many, many pages, super long webinars, super long Zoom calls, strategy calls, what we're selling. But the fact is that if I was able to provide insight in less than 3 minutes to you go where you go, like, oh my gosh, this person knows exactly my problem and what to do. I don't need a full hour and a half to sell you, right? And where I think Yoda's come up with the 2-page Google Doc is how do you get your offer in front of your hyper-responsive client quickly? I mean, I've had it so many times in my career, right? So it's 25 years of being an entrepreneur. How many times have you sat with your team or people around you, or you're in a mastermind or you're on a coaching club and you're like, oh man, we should be doing this and we should be doing that. And hey, what about this angle? And what about this? And everyone's like, oh, that's an amazing idea. And you write it all out, and you're all excited, right? And then by the time that idea gets to fruition, it's 3.5, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, right? And it might never get done. Number one, might never get done. And number two is, you never know the result of that. That could be a multi-million-dollar breakthrough that's sitting in your business. And you have a false, and by the way, I'm not picking on you. I'm speaking from complete personal experience here, okay? Yeah, I'm so guilty of what I'm describing. So that's why I know it, is that if you were able to get your crystal clear message, which then created transformational perspective shift, which we'll call insight into your ideal client more often, would they buy from you? And the answer is yes, they would. In fact, I would actually argue that, by us complicating things of doing long webinars out of the gate, or we have a new offer, we got to do long webinar on it. Like, you don't know what to fix if it breaks, right? You don't know what to fix if it breaks. Now, so that's where Yoda's 2-page Google Doc is just genius, because in less than an hour you could put together a new offer, follow his structure, and have it out in front of your clients right away. Now, let me bring up a couple points, because it's well, what if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't work like Travis's? Or what if it doesn't work like Yoda's? Well, like his results. And the fact of the matter is, it's probably not going to. It's probably not going to be as perfect as the results that the guy who invented it did, who's already got an audience. But if you already have an audience with rapport, you can expect those types of results. And if you're new, you now have a beautiful piece of a tool that's going to allow you to get an offer out to your prospective clients and your existing clients as quickly as possible. Now, here's what's even better, and this is what I think people miss, right? Is that if I'm looking for simplicity and I'm looking to wonder, hey, if these things work, if this message works, or if this offer works, or if this offer works, and I need to get through those question marks as quickly as possible, because no consultant can give you 100% certainty like the market can, right? Now, if you're able to do that faster, okay, what does that give you? That gives you power, that gives you confidence, because you get what? You're getting a feedback loop. Now, for example, I'll give you a great example. So when we, I had to run outside and move a car real quick, so I'm back. Okay, so what's beautiful about getting your offer out as quickly as possible is that you immediately get feedback. Do people buy it? In almost anything, right? If you have a good offer to the right market, which we cover in the offer fix formula, by the way, of how to fix a stagnant offer, the reality is you're going to get sales. Okay. Now, what we like to do is, say we invite them to a group, or say when they come in, we're going to say, hey, thanks for buying that, which is actually what I'm going to talk to you about in a minute. Thanks for buying that. What was it about X that made you want to grab it, or that you're looking to achieve out of it? That's super important, okay? That's number one. So that's from the customer side. And everybody like is excited about that. Well, everyone knows to market to their customers, unless they don't. But we'll talk about that in a second. But what's bigger, this is what's bigger about getting the document out to people right away, is that you're going to start getting questions. So if you notice on all my emails or any of my posts, I'll say, hey, just reply here if you have a question, or let me know how I can support you, right? And what happens there is that people start emailing you and they ask great questions. Hey, is this going to work for a mastermind? I'm like, well, yeah, it works perfectly for a mastermind. Then I go back to the sales document. I go, oh, he doesn't even mention masterminds in this thing. And then I send it back, and she comes back, and she goes, well, but he talks about like how to make money in 24 hours to 72 hours with your existing clients. I don't have any existing clients. Does it work with a new offer? And I was like, well, in fact, it does. It's actually better as a new offer. It's not better as a new offer, like you shouldn't use it as a back-end offer, but it's perfect for somebody who's new because it gives you the speed and simplicity to articulate your offer in a non-complicated way and get it out the door in front of people. I mean, I'll tell you a funny story. We were selling dental implants. For $70,000 patients were walking in the door after seeing a little ad, okay, that asked them to request a report. What's a report? A 2-page Google Doc, okay? And all we did on that was we stated the offer, stated the problem, and went through all the most commonly questions people ask. And what's the price? Well, here's the ranges, because that's what that market wanted to know. Now, in dentistry, obviously, if you're selling dental implant cases, if you're you would want to use video testimonials but see, here's the thing. Can you use video testimonials in a 2-page Google Doc? Well, yeah. You put them up on YouTube. You take the links. You put them right there. Okay. So there's so many ways to just do that. It's so much easier and faster than trying to get a developer to do that. By the way, we have a website. We use websites, but I'm just showing you the power of this. But again, I thought it was common sense that someone knew this would work perfectly for a mastermind because I'm in his mastermind, so I see all the people using it in their masterminds. I thought it was common sense that you could use it on to new people because he talks about the audience growth method for free and how to grow your audience very, very rapidly for free, right? And so that was like obvious to me in my head, but guess what? All of us are too close to the thing we're selling, right? We necessarily aren't the prospect. So if you have that piece up on a website or in a webinar, and you're not going to get that feedback like that. Now, the way to do that is what? Have chat, record your chats, come back to your copy team, and then regurgitate it. But I don't know about you, but man, I'll tell you, if I'm running webinars and I'm running Zoom trainings as a sales mechanism, or I'm doing strategy calls you could probably get better faster on it because like if a prospect asks a question and I don't know the answer to, or I kind of muffled it, yeah, I could do that really quickly. But in a document, it's leverageable. So now it's every single time, right? What was the last? I had one last point I want to make, and then we'll get to the case study that I wanted to share with you. But nobody that I know, with a very few exception, like Jason Fladlin's probably rare exception, Russell Brunson, rare exception, because they have a whole team helping them with their webinars, is taking that feedback and then sticking it in the next webinar. So all they're doing is showing up and making small adjustments to their presentation. But if you have a small team, if you're new or you're really experienced, to bang out a whole new webinar to do it, when someone comes in with a new question and to build out a whole new webinar, it's going to take time. Unless, of course, you have an editing team and everything's easy. But anyhow, that's kind of that. One other thing I just think is really important is, I want to address this because this came up. Because this is going to come to the case study on how we turned $1,200 into $6,300. People always judge this stuff. Like, well, you're sending a Google Doc to people. Yes, I'm sending a Google Doc to people. when we were selling $70,000 patients on dental implants, we were just sending them out simple little reports, just like this, with paper, pictures, everything. Nothing glossy, nothing fancy, because it answered their questions. When I sold my dental marketing, this is before the internet is big and as easy as it is, even though I think this model still works, is we were using 12-page sales letters on yellow paper or goldenrod paper, and we'd send out direct mail pieces with an audio tape, and then it went to a CD. And the first few prospects that came in were like, and they're dentists, right? Like, I can't believe you send crap out like this. Like that was their feedback. Well, I was young, man. I mean, it was 19, 20 years ago, and it was my first successful company, but we weren't successful at that point. And if I let that hurt my feelings and stop me from sticking with it, then it would have prevented me from selling thousands and thousands of those things. So, if people are going to yell it's tacky or whatever, you're going to have that with every other different tool. Like, I don't want to get on a phone call. I don't want to get on a webinar. I don't want to get this because you guys are just going to sell me at the end of it. Well, why not just lead with the offer and let people know that you have something of value to them, and you do it in a very structured way that sells them? Why not just skip to that? Boom. Now, after you get that, then there's a slew of things we can do after that first initial offer presentation. We're going to start getting the questions coming in, right? And so there's a lot of, then we have layers of things in there. But which is what we're going to talk about now too, is Yoda talks about his Zoom appreciation event as one of the best ways to get people to buy more. And what I found in dentistry when I was in there, we would run patient appreciation events or client appreciation events that just killed it. And then we taught our practices how to run patient appreciation events. And now that's after they were already engaged with us. And it just helps with going down the slide of sales, Okay, cool. So, on the front end stuff, I just had one more note on this and then we'll get started here. On the front end, yeah. So currently we're running lead ads, and we're just using the Google Doc to sell. Still optimizing the messaging. We're taking the questions, and I'm re-recording an ad or two on my end because I'm good at it. I like it. I have a great ad girl. We're only spending $50 a day, nothing crazy, maybe $100 a day. And then, but there's 3 people in Yoda's mastermind that have shared are just crushing it on the front end. Okay, we're bringing customers in, and like I said, no one's doing this, so it's a great opportunity to be different in your marketplace and speed. Okay, all right. So let me go through this case study, and I'll kind of give the context. Right. So one of the things that Yoda said to me when we had our first call is he said, Ed, I was a lot like you. And he's like, I always loved building more ways to get more customers. How do we get more people in the door? And it's kind of it's kind of addicting, right? You're like, okay, great, I want to be in multiple channels. I want to do all this stuff. Well, that might be a great way to do it, but that's complicated, man. That creates complexity. Trust me. I've been in, one of my businesses was in 5 or 6 different channels. We had dozens and dozens of media buyers sending us sales on a daily basis. And is alluring and as attractive as that, as alluring and as attractive, sorry guys, my phone just went to sleep or my computer went to sleep for a half second. As alluring, as attractive as that may seem from the outside, and it's a pain in the butt on the inside, right? And so one of the things that he pointed out to me was nobody takes care of their existing leads or their existing customers enough. And what do I mean by that? Not taking care is the wrong term, right? Nobody sends them enough offers. And I was like, that's brilliant. And so he shared a certain business model, which I'm not going to share on this training because that's not what That's not what this is about. But I will share that what I did is I reached out to a friend of mine who many of you would know. And I said, look, he had customers coming through his challenge, right? It was a $55 challenge, 5 days, and they would sell them a $7,500 thing, like a $3,500 and a $7,500 thing right after that, okay? And I said, well, hey, when are you done selling your people? Like, when do you guys give up on them? When do you think, like, okay, we've offered it to them enough, and let me go, they're not going to buy, right? And he told me when. And I think they stopped their campaign around 35 days, okay? And so one thing that I do in my business life is I look for high-ticket partners who got a sales flow coming in, and we make sales for them on the back end when they give up on them, like when they're done trying to sell them, okay? But they have to be customers, and you have to have a proven high-ticket offer, okay? Just so you know. It's a great business model. And so I said to him, good, would you be cool with if I took all the people who went through the challenge, which I think at that point was like 1,200, and I think after we took out like international people, it was probably between 900 and like 1,200. Okay, just I'll have to go back and look if you want to know. But you know, when you send the mailing list, they scrub it and then we send it out. And we're doing direct mail. Okay, we're doing direct mail. And Yoda, and this is in the Google Cash Machine offer, by the way. Let me see which one it is. Because Yoda helped me put together a one-page letter. One page, people. One page. Took me approximately. It took me probably, in fairness, probably an hour to write, and then like I let it mull and stew, and then I came back and I had him review it really quickly, like just, hey, does this look good? And obviously I overcomplicated everything. I think my first version was like 3 pages, and he's like, no, you're not. You're missing the whole point. And my whole point was, the whole point is where does your prospect, your client's transformational insight, like where is that at? And that should be the only thing that's being talked about, right? Because then when you get that in front of them, the response is to jump towards you. They're going to jump towards you, okay? And so if you could take 2.5 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, and have people do that with you, what would they mean to your business, right? So I sent this out to about, I'll just say 1,200. I'll stick with that number, and received I think 72 people raised their hand. Actually, it was less than that. It was 55 people. 72 was a different campaign. 55 people raised their hand wanting to know more about the high-ticket offer that the owner of this product thought they already saw. So think about that, right? You have 55 people that have already gone through a 5-day challenge. You have sold them. You've had salespeople call them. You've emailed them relentlessly. You've probably text messaged them. And then they get a letter in their mail, right? And you're selling a $7,500 product. Think about that. And 55 people raised their hand immediately, okay? And out of that, so they all responded to me. I took the emails, because I had them. What I had them do is text me or email me, okay? And it would come into my system, and then I had 2 specific questions for them, okay? I'll give you like number one. What is the number one reason that you're interested in XYZ elite coaching club? Okay. And number 2 is describe your business for me. That was it. Now, when they responded to that, what happens is, and this is all via text or email. There's no phone calls on this. The third question is, how soon do you want to solve these problems. Okay, and what happens there is they gave me everything I need to know to sell them. Okay, but more importantly, what happens there is they started selling themselves. Okay, now the third part is I sent them a 2-page Google Doc with the offer structure, and that was it. That was it. There was no long form sales letter. There was not a ton of time selling copy. That was it, right? And we sold in less than 3 weeks, because I think that's the some of it was faster, some of it was a little slower. 9 people at 7,500. So what is that? 63,000 with some change, right? And plus, so 66,000, 65. You know, depending on installments and depending on people paying in full. 7,500 was just on average. So let's just say 65,000 on average. And so we spent $1,200. Think about this. I spent $1,200 my own money. We direct mailed them, and within to a list of between 900 and 1,200. And all of a sudden you have these people in. Now, what questions would I want to know if I were you? Well, first of all, I want to press home. There's people in your world right now, right, on your Facebook pages. So if you're like, well, Ed, where's my client coming from, right? Where's my client coming from? And I looked over your shoulder and we went to your Facebook page, right? Went to your Facebook and I scrolled down all your friends and I looked at mutual friends and I said, like, or people that have interests that in like for my dental client, what I want to know is who follows us and friends our doctor, and then what about the labs, like people like for dental implants, for example. Say I want to sell a dental implant patient attraction toolkit. Well, all the dentists who are liking CEREC, it's not CEREC for dental implants, but you know what I mean, like the machine, the lab that is they're probably selling their implants. Well, what do they all want? They all want more patients, right? I mean, you and I can find those people, right? In your database, right? If you've ever had buyers, best thing you could ever do is take what Yoda calls a second helping campaign, okay? It is, let's see where it's at in this thing. Where's his, looking all over for this thing.
It's 11 o'clock.
It's in one of the packages. I think it's in the mid-tier package that that I'm selling with a couple bonuses by buying it through me. It's a second helping campaign. And here's what's so cool about it. It's a simple thank you with would you like to, and then we go through the insight part, which is part of the training and the sales copy, which I encourage you to get them to raise their hand, okay? And then what we do after that is part of the second helping campaign. Now, everyone on here could do this. You could do this via email. So one of the first things we like to do is test this via email. So I'll create 3 messages to my email list, and I will send out 2 different segments of that thing. And sometimes you have to do multiple day sequences to your list, but it's fun. Like you're testing different angles. Like, are tired of waiting for the phone ring. Let's say that's your subject line, right? And nobody picks up. Well, maybe their phone's ringing then, or no one opens that email. But then maybe they have their phone ringing, but maybe their issue is, maybe their hot button is something different. What would it be? Tired of price-driven patients calling your office. See the difference there? And I guarantee, like in any medical practice coaching club, you just see that go up. People go crazy over that one, because everyone, all medical practices, just like coaches and consultants, we're all trying to find ways. How do we filter out the people we don't want and get more of what we want? So, and you always got to go back to, like, what are they escaping, right? What are they escaping, right? So you're escaping. Are you? What I use, frustrated. So I would just, let's say, sick and tired of trying to present, dental implants to price-driven patients. Again, that's always going to get people. And that's really the solution there is inside their team. That's number one. Number two is combining with that, it's their marketing, right? But you can take it and apply it to your office. If you're selling to contractors right now or anybody like that, they're all of a sudden, guess what? The phone stopped ringing. Well, why? Because people are pulling back, and you can look at that whole domino effect happening, right? And in the offer, the offer fix training I do, one of the biggest things we start looking at is like, well, who's the who inside the who? And what I mean by that is, in frantic, crazy economic times, one of the questions we got to ask ourselves is like, okay, well, before, when everything was going well and everyone was spending money like crazy, even people that weren't really my ideal client were spending the money to be my ideal client. They were still buying my courses. I was able to sell my $3,000 thing. But now I'm just getting headaches and more refunds, or people are stopping payments, or those. I'm kind of realizing I don't like those clients, or those, And so what the opportunity is in that, is, it's like, great. If we said great, now the opportunity becomes, well, who's the who inside your who that you want more of those who's, and so now it's like, okay, that's what we don't want. My daughter just went on, funny story is like, my daughter just went on a trip to Florida with my wife, and they looked at like 5 schools. And one of the things I encourage her to just keep in mind is like, look, you're going to see things you don't like, and I just want you to stay positive. Like, part of finding out what you really, really want is really experiencing what you don't like, Sadly, as parents, like, we can't protect our kids from like real life things, of what they don't like. But, and so this is really true in this case as well. Like, your coaching businesses and consulting businesses, you're not failing when a bad client shows up, or someone who you don't really like working with is showing up. You're not failing. You're learning, and so we can readjust. And I mean, that goes back to my 2-page Google Doc. We can readjust the insight and offering we're making so much faster by doing the speed, the clarity, a simple model. So I think this has been enough. I think we got a nice, hopefully you enjoyed this. I'll do more if you like this. If you have a question, just leave it in the comments. Let me know if you like this. What sparked my interest of doing this call and started doing a lot more trainings is because I met with my director of marketing with my client, and one of the things I really pushed to him was, hey, look, this next year, we're probably going to need 4 times the amount of leads, okay, from multiple different angles, right? And we're going to have to eventually have multiple different channels happening. And so we'll talk about the audience grow model. We'll talk about where to do cold reach outs and how to have that happen. But none of that matters unless you get crystal clear on 3, 4, 5, offers that you can make your existing clients and your new clients and new prospects. Okay, and so every who's who has 5 different tentacles to what they're looking for, and some are stronger than others, right? And so that'll grab different people. But if you start looking at like, okay, we need a business that has this criteria. They're making over $250,000 a year, or they're making $2.5 million a year above. Well, those are good questions to have. It's easy. It's so easy with technology today, like with simple like chat or email, or when people opt in, like to ask, like, describe your business. Click the button. I'm under 500,000. I'm above 500,000. When I was teaching guys how to be in the supplement space, because I had been in the supplement space for many years, the most enjoyable people to work with were people that were already close to the $500,000 to $1.2 million a year mark, because they had broken past, like, they're getting the conversion funnel done. Same thing was true in dentistry, man. If you were doing $600,000 to $1 million a year in dentistry, it was super duper duper easy to get your results, which is one of the things I'll share on the next training about the number one way to get people to upgrade, because it's just so simple. It's so simple, it's so obvious, it's so brilliant, but that's where your focus should be. and you use that in conjunction with the second helping campaign. Okay, so if you haven't checked out Travis's 2-page Google Doc message, please do that. I think there's not a person watching this that can't benefit. Doesn't matter your market, doesn't matter what you're doing. It's not expensive. It's pretty inexpensive actually. And for me, what I'm looking for too is I want to work with the buyers. So the buyers in my group are obviously going to get a lot more bonuses and a lot of free stuff. And you may get a special invite as well. Maybe you'll get one of these too. So, but you got to become a buyer to find out. And then if you're like, Ed, I want something different than that, well, then you can reach out to me as well. Like if your business is cranking, there's something specific you want some support with. And even you guys that are killing it in coaching, whatever, I would grab it and give it to a team member to just copy paste and get it live. So that's it. Get your campaign out. Do that. Get your second helping campaign out to your existing leads, existing customers, and if you don't have existing leads and customers, you got to get moving here. We got to get offers out to people. You got to get sales coming in because the world's not going to come show up. I mean, there's no more bailouts happening, right? What if I told you that making more offers to more people that you think are your ideal client, your who's who, is the way to get bailed out if you're looking for that. And then the other side of it is, if we're looking to scale and find new markets, it's who's who, offer, okay? All right. Have an amazing day. Thanks, guys.